Imagine receiving not one, but two phone calls late on a Wednesday afternoon. Your week nearly over, but one of the calls was unexpected. Headache first. Next, trip, fall, set up with vomiting profusely. I got to the school as fast as I could in complete panic. The teacher met me with terror, and I had panic in my own eyes as I turned to see her walking toward the truck, escorted by two adults, left foot slapping the pavement as she walked and profusely vomiting the entire way. After completing my pickups and drop-offs at home, I headed to the hospital on the advice of my pediatrician. My daughter is Lyric, and she was 8 years old. After arriving at the hospital, I completed the mini questionnaire. Fall, possibly hit head, profuse vomiting. I watched in agony as my daughter's gait changed from a right foot walk, left foot slap to a right foot walk, left foot slow drag. After waiting for at least an hour, we were placed in a room following triage with nursing staff. To rule out a concussion, the attending ER physician ordered a head CT while the staff told me to keep Lyric awake. She had numerous assessments by several doctors, some noting obvious markings all over that were present since birth. Interesting, one here and another there. I pointed out a few more and began to ask questions for which they were hesitant to provide answers. They left the room to discuss their findings with their team. Hours later, a different doctor came in and introduced himself as one of the neurosurgeons. We stepped into the hallway to talk, and then the words came. Your daughter has tuberous sclerosis. It is a very rare genetic condition. She has clinical markings and the scan revealed a mass. All of this is conclusive of the diagnosis. I asked to see the CT scan. He paused and we walked over to the nurse's station. I saw the mass before the surgeon could speak. At least 10 nurses and several doctors had gathered around. Based on the positioning of the mass, your daughter is minutes away from having a major stroke. Her right ventricle is completely occluded and the left is almost occluded as well. He continued by saying the obvious white matter attached to the mass was partial calcification of the tumor, which was eating away at her brain. My heart sank. Without hesitation, I made the decision for stat PICU admission. She was just 8 years old. It was overwhelming to receive a diagnosis such as this one within a 4-hour ER wait. That night began a 66-day stint inside the walls of Arkansas Children's Hospital. Tuberous Sclerosis Complex, also known as TSC. What is this and what could anyone do? TSC is a rare genetic condition that can affect various organs. Usually TSC is accompanied by tumors. Historically, it presents in two ways, TSC1 and TSC2. Doctors say that TSC2 is the complex variety, and because Lyric is a complex case, this variety is likely the gene responsible for her case. Therefore, she is in the 1/3 of all cases affected by a known genetic mutation. And in my daughter's case, the TSC diagnosis was immediately evidenced by a gigantic brain tumor known as a SAGA, subependymal giant cell astrocytoma. She started having trouble in her 3rd grade year, and at the end of her 5th week, she was retained into the 2nd grade. Learning difficulties and cognition deficits appeared by the end of 1st grade. She had constant pain of unknown origin, occasional shortness of breath, changes in vision, skin abnormalities, and severe migraines diagnosed at age 6. Many people have TSC, diagnosed and undiagnosed, affecting 1 in 6,000 newborns in the United States and as many as 2 million people worldwide. TSC affects individuals across the ethnic divide and does not discriminate based on age or gender. A definite diagnosis includes 2 major features and at least 2 minor features. For Lyric, she had major features number 1, 2, and 8, and later developed 3 and 4. She had minor features number 1 and 5, and later developed number 2. Baseline imaging revealed the SAGA. The images provided the neurosurgeons the margins required for tumor resection, which occurred 2 days after her initial diagnosis. That Saturday morning, following surgery, Lyric returned to the MRI suite for post-op imaging, which revealed enlarged ventricles and essentially a hole where the tumor once resided. My education came quickly over the next several months as I learned in detail exactly what this genetic condition does to a person's body, exactly what the SAGA means for its host, how epilepsy and seizure disorders may develop, and the lasting ugly effect known as intellectual disability, the possible neuropsych component, and how all bodily systems are affected. Just when I thought I had digested everything possible, there was more. Even something as simple as the teeth, which doctors may examine and mistake pitting for cavities. The Tuberous Sclerosis Alliance is here to help individuals navigate the waters of uncertainty. Whether a person wants information on clinical trials, infantile spasms, or wants help, the Alliance is here to serve. If anyone has questions, I encourage you to reach out for the specifics or even browse the website for educational information. For Lyrit, her journey has continued. August 30, 2019 marks 6 years from initial post-op. To name a few, we are regularly seen by a team of specialists including orthopedic surgery.
Let me see you stand up a minute here once you get them shoes off. Some fancy shoes you got there. Huh?
What
Soft
the
and
hell,
fuzzy
Mom?
inside. Walk over there to that corner right quick there for me. A little bit of a flat foot there. Let me see you stand up on your tippy toes. Can you do that for me? Well, I'm okay with trying some custom inserts. I worry a little bit that the left one may be a little bit uncomfortable with the insert, because I like to use inserts on feet that are good and flexible, and her left foot's a little stiffer than the right.
Okay.
So we can start with the inserts and see if she likes them, and if it really causes her some pain, we may have to do some physical therapy to stretch on her Achilles tendons a little bit.
That's what we want. We want therapy.
Okay,
We do want therapy. So if you recommend the therapy without the inserts,
I do, really. If she's
Okay.
getting around well without them,
okay,
I would honestly do the therapy to work on at least the flexibility of her heel cord and her ankle joint.
okay,
And then if they can do any work on maybe some of that weakness around her hip, the x-rays are fine on the hip, but she may have a little bit of muscle loss in certain areas.
okay.
And most of the therapy that you're going to be doing is going to be at home. I mean, because you can't go to therapy every day, but you need therapy every day. So once you learn these stretches and these exercises, the key is doing the therapy at home.
Can you repeat that,
The key is
please?
doing the therapy at home with your mama's help. Aha! Mama's going to learn these exercises too, because she's going to keep her Achilles flexible.
Okay,
Get you guys set up with some PT, okay?
okay.
All right.
Can you see my fingers?
Neuro-ophthalmology.
2, 1, 5.
Keep looking at my notes. Can you see my fingers right here? And here? And here? You see?
Yeah.
Let's switch now. This hand over here. So I do it with them. My left eye's closed, so I'm trying to see what I can do. How many fingers? Look at my nose. Look at my nose. How many fingers?
2, 2, 5.
Can you see him here? Keep looking at my nose. Can you see him here?
1, 2.
Look at my nose. Can you see my fingers wiggling? Tell me the first time you can see them wiggling.
I'll see you.
So you can imagine tracking on a page when she goes back to the left. How's she doing in school?
She hasn't complained. I mean, her grades are about the same.
Okay.
She
Do we
actually,
need like some sort of marking on the page to get her to go back to the left side?
nephrology, neurology,
Okay, you ready? Good girl. Okay, now let's see that. You hold both your hands up like that for me. Put them way out straight. Straighten this one way out too. Okay, and open your fingers real big like you're holding a baseball like that. And I'm going to try and get that one up there like that. Now, there you go. Now, okay, close your eyes. Keep them there. Keep them up 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 there.
Sure, tell me.
and neurosurgery.
Otherwise, inside of the ventricles look stable to me. It looks like the shunts are working. I don't see any new tumors or anything like that.
Okay, no new tumors. Okay.
There is a small spot there that may be a small SIGA, but it was there a year and a half ago and it hasn't changed at all. So
No
it's just
growth.
something to watch.
Okay.
So I think you're doing fine. She's got lots of reasons to have short-term memory problems, and I suspect that as you get further in school, particularly 8th and 9th grade, can be a couple of the hardest years.
Mm-hmm.
And so things like those sorts of deficits may come out from that.
Okay.
If the teachers and if you are convinced that it's something that's getting steadily worse, then probably we need to think about doing some neurocognitive testing to see if we can measure it. But I don't see anything on the MRI to explain a progressive problem. The MRI looks stable, so I suspect it's more likely been there and it's just being unmasked by the harder year of school.
Okay. Right.
So she may have more struggles as things get harder.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But that's what IEPs and things like that are for.
Okay.
To try to accommodate for her needs.
Okay.
And it sounds like all that's being done.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds
Yes.
like the school's being very accommodating for you. I think, to me, she looks fine.
Okay.
I don't see anything that worries me.
Good.
Shun's definitely working.
Good. That makes me happy.
Me too. Me too. So from my standpoint, I would plan to see you back in a year.
Okay.
And
Saw Bissler yesterday,
mhm.
and we saw.
Anything to report from his end?
He said her kidneys look well. She will not scan next year. He'll wait 2 years, but he will see her back next year.
Yeah, I would like to do the same.
Okay.
Just plan to see you back in 1 year. And anytime we can try to get his appointment on the same day as mine, it'll make things easier for you.
Okay. Having a diagnosis of TSC means we never give up on a hope for a cure. She's so silly.